Hey everyone, it's Sally here, and for today's AmaZix Ask Me Anything interview, I am speaking with Jason, who is the CEO for GoChain. Hey Jason, how's it going?
Hey, great. Thanks for having us on.
Yes, thanks for being here. So Jason, this is more of a project update since you guys held your ICO several months ago. So we do have a list of community questions, but before we get into those, I kind of want to know a bit about GoChain and your background, if we could start off with that.
Awesome. Yes, thank you. So yeah, my background is I started as a proprietary trader in the late 90s, kind of internet 1.0 days. So I've seen this movie before where a lot of money came in and built a new industry. In the early 2000s, I started my own hedge fund, ran it up to about 300 million at its peak. And then I was a partner and a founder in a biotech company, sold to a public company. And then I had an organic food and beverage business, sold to my former business partner, and then a bunch of angel tech investments along the way. Currently have one unicorn in my portfolio. And then most recently, GoChain, my business partner, Travis. He's been building infrastructure and high throughput applications for the past 20 plus years. Most recently, he built and founded a company called Iron.io, major VC-backed startup that raised 17 million from top-tier VCs like Bain and Sapphire. And they pioneered serverless cloud computing to over 1 million transactions a second, which we obviously think that is extremely relevant to what we're doing in blockchain today.
Yes.
Leads us into GoChain. The genesis of GoChain is that Travis specifically started working with Ethereum smart contracts about a year ago. Ran into all the latency, high gas fees, all the problems, and he, as a dev, took a look at the code and saw a bunch of ways to improve it. He's a Go developer, and we essentially forked the Ethereum Go client, hence GoChain. And so we're a 100% Ethereum compatible blockchain. We are a standalone blockchain, and we are 10 times more decentralized, 100 times faster, and 1,000 times greener. To achieve those milestones, we did three things. We optimized the code for speed and performance, and then we changed proof of work to proof of reputation, which is an upgraded form of proof of authority. And then we utilized a bunch of Travis's knowledge and experience to handle the data with data compression and off-chain data storage.
Wow.
Yeah.
Quite the story and quite the background. So how did you then get involved in blockchain and crypto? Was it through Travis that kind of led you into that realm, or?
Yeah, I've been, I started as a trader, long 20 plus years ago. So obviously I've been involved in the space. I was an investor in the space. And then when about a little over a year ago, I ran into Travis at the coffee shop and we started talking about crypto, and I asked him if he had an idea for a project, and he said he did. He asked me to be on the advisory board when it was still just an idea. And then late last year, he turned it into a proof of concept, and then that's when it came into fruition, and we went from there.
Okay, and I have some questions here from your community members that you guys gathered over the past few days. So the first one they want to ask is, what is your goal for the end of the year in terms of achievements for GoChain?
Sure. I think, basically where we're at right now is we want to be a leading network protocol. So what that basically means is we'd like to see a lot more adoption in terms of dApps coming onto our platform and deploying. And then, we like to say that we're, one of the only enterprise-ready, production-ready, scalable blockchain solutions today. So, while Ethereum's got high gas fees and congestion, we don't. Quick organic test and tweet that was done. Somebody deployed a smart contract on Ethereum, and it took 38 minutes to deploy and cost $3.41. They did the same smart contract on GoChain. It took 5 seconds and cost 1/100 of a penny. So that's basically our value proposition, in 2 sentences. And then if we continue to do what we think we're going to do, we should be at least in the top 5 in ICO volume over the next 12 months, and we potentially could be in the top 3. So we think we've got a real opportunity to really kind of cement ourselves in there as an industry leader in the protocol space.
Yeah, I think it was really evident when CryptoKitties came out and that whole debacle, if you remember that.
Yes, absolutely.
How necessary it is, I think, for something else there's more evolved to come along to kind of help with these scaling issues, because that seems to be a major issue. And I think CryptoKitties really highlighted that.
Yeah, definitely. That's the thing, is that if Ethereum came out and they really broke the ground and pioneered the space for all of us on the network protocol side. And, we're, just trying to build on top of that and take it to the next level.
Yeah. So what is your overall vision for GoChain?
Yeah, I mean, basically, our overall vision is to become, an industry leader, if not the industry standard, if we can. Something different that we're doing than the rest of the protocols is we're basically a full service, almost blockchain as a service protocol, where the other ones like Ethereum and EOS, they're decentralized autonomous organizations to where they're building the software and then just putting it out there. And we are very much a business organization. And we think in order for blockchain to really take off, it needs adoption. And so we've built a business organization where we've got Matt King, we've got heads our business development, and then we've just hired Ian Alexander from IBM Hyperledger to be our customer success manager. And then we've got our dev team in behind that. And then I run the business team. And so we're also partnered with several of our advisors to bring, specifically Ben Gadenzi and MB Technology. We have an agreement with them to bring in excess of 500 million in ICOs to the GoChain platform. And several of our other advisors, Emily Bush and Etienne and others are also, bringing projects to us. And so we really want to make a run at becoming the go-to protocol.
Yeah, it sounds like you have a lot going on behind the scenes that we don't even know about yet, which is why we're talking to you today. So would you say that's how you're different than most of your competitors then, as far as the business aspect of it?
Yes, definitely. I mean, that's the whole thing is like I said, too, is that, scaling was kind of the first problem that needed to be solved. And the second thing is adoption. And let's face it, blockchain is not that easy to understand for a lot of people. And so there's definitely a lot of hand-holding that needs to be done from, onboarding from beginning to end. And we've got several partnerships, some of which are announced and some of which are unannounced, that are going to help, facilitate all these things and to kind of, bring this full circle so that it makes sense. Is we announced a partnership with a company called Safe Contract on Monday. They've built the first full-service kind of ICO in a box solution where they can take investments in GoChain or Ethereum. They can distribute ERC20 contracts or Go20 contracts. They will do whitelist, AML, KYC, and full mainnet token swaps. We did a mainnet token swap, and it took us about a month to do, and there were a lot of pain points. So that's on the ICO side. On the dApp side, we've got a couple middleware partnerships that are coming along where there's kind of a Wix for enterprise dApps. And then there's also an actual middleware where people will be able to write in, say, .NET or C# or Java or other coding languages. And then there'll be a Solidity compiler in behind that will deploy on GoChain. So we're trying to bring all of these resources to make it easy for anyone that we partner with or wants to work with GoChain.
Yeah, that's great, because that is one of the biggest issues, I think, with crypto right now, is just adoption and usability. I think it's so complicated. I mean, to try to explain to someone, it took me months to figure out when I first started how to do my wallet and my private keys and work the exchanges and do smart contracts. And just, it's so complicated right now. Like, we really need something to come along and simplify it so we can get more people on board. So sounds like that's also one of your top priorities as well.
Definitely. And like I said, the lights are on, and someone's always here to answer emails and answer the phone and work with projects that, onboarding and any special needs they have. We're happy to work with them. And, Travis's background is he's basically a software architect. So if they need help kind of building out their functionality of their dApp, we can provide that too. So we're adding a little more full service to it rather than just building the software and then letting the community figure it out.
Yeah. So what do you think your biggest challenge is then going forward with some of these goals? And do you have things in place to kind of help deal with it?
Yeah. I mean, the number one biggest challenge is adoption. I mean, by far. I mean, that's the whole thing. I mean, listen, this is not going to be unlike any other industry or product or service or technology that's come before us. And what I mean by that is not always the best product or service will win. It's what gains the most adoption. And so we've known that from day one. So we've been very aggressive in terms of, making partnerships and hiring the right people, and taking every step, needed to make that happen. Even to the point to where we've got, 2 new hires that I guess I'll break on your show. We've partnered up with Bill Makaitis. Bill Makaitis is the former senior vice president Salesforce, and then he went on to be the CMO of Zendesk and the CMO of Slack. So he's our marketing advisor.
Wow.
I think he's got several multi-billion-dollar exits, and his nickname is the Unicorn Creator. So on the marketing side, we feel extremely fortunate. It's his first foray into blockchain. And then on the governance side, which we also think is going to become an issue, we've partnered up with David Koenig. He is one of the foremost experts on governance in the world. He's written a book called Governance Reimagined, and he's got over 200 book recommendations from some of the top corporate governance people in the world, the head of the Norwegian Sovereign Wealth Fund, the head of BlackRock, and the like. And so we're really going to count on him to help us on the governance side as well. So
that's excellent. So it sounds like you got some really good team members then.
Yeah, we've had some good success at recruiting, and we think that's just a testament to to what we're building, and we really want the community and the space and the developers around the world to understand that we're building something for the long term. This is not not some short term thing we're doing. We're trying to build something super solid, and we think we're building a foundational piece of blockchain infrastructure, and we want to do it right from the beginning.
Excellent. So one of our community questions here is that if you could change one thing in the current crypto space with a snap of your fingers, what would it be and why? And also, do you feel that you could contribute to this change with GoChain?
Sure. I guess the way I would answer that is the custody and dealing with the private keys. And if there was a way to make that easier, that would be the number one thing that I would do, because that's like the scariest thing possible, So we have talked about solutions for that. We are talking to people about ways to handle that. Currently we don't have a solution, but I think that's one of the biggest things that's stopping, kind of the general public from getting involved is, these big long number strings of 32 or 64 characters, and what do they do with those?
Yes.
How do they handle them, and what if they lose them, and all that kind of stuff. So that would be one thing that I would definitely change, is find an easy way to deal with those private keys.
Yeah, I agree. That is definitely one of the main concerns. People don't know how to store them, where to store them, what happens if they lose one, can they access their money, what if somebody steals it? There's just so many issues surrounding the security of that issue and how to access your crypto that would definitely be something worth investigating. As far as the Ethereum network delays go that we were talking about earlier, one person wrote, they were saying at times like that, when there is a congestion or delay with Ethereum, that would be the time to maybe do like a mass marketing effort on GoChain's end to kind of like get people's attention of how you're different from Ethereum. So what is your thoughts on that? And is this being worked on?
Yeah, I think obviously with bringing Bill on the marketing side, we're going to build out a huge marketing plan to do that. And obviously, we're building something for the long term. So there's every day there are gas wars and kind of, short-term blips and in those kinds of things. And I think, we're not trying to take advantage of mishaps that they have in the short term. We're looking to build this for the long term. So I think we're going to come up with a long-term strategy, and we're really going to build around that focus.
And will GoChain and Ethereum become interoperable in the near future?
If they were interested, obviously we would talk to them. The only thing stopping that is them talking to us. So basically, we're compatible blockchain. So anything written on GoChain is frontwards and backwards compatible, and vice versa. So anything that's written on Ethereum could switch to our network, and like I said, vice versa. But they would have to be willing to talk to us. And so I don't see that in the near future, but maybe at some point, if they came to us, we would definitely be open to the idea.
Yeah, you never know. Guess we'll have to
exactly
wait and see what happens. As far as nodes go, I want to talk about nodes for a second.
Sure.
So you've had some added in stats.gochain.io. Can you
Yes.
tell which company they are or
Sure.
anything about them?
Yeah, we're going to be releasing a list and making this public very shortly. I think there's about 10 or 11 now, and we're going to, rather than me kind of going through and talking about them, I think we're gonna release a list with more information on each one of them. One thing that I will say is we're pretty blockchain heavy right now, and we're going to make an effort to bring on more non-blockchain companies. And we're talking to a few Fortune 500 companies on that basis also, and hope to have a very large company. Again, I can't promise anything. We're in discussions, but hope to have a very large company that at least one that'll be on there sometime in the next couple months.
And what about the signer rewards for the GoChain operated nodes?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, basically to start the network, we spun up several of the initial nodes because we needed to do that. And so as we get more nodes on, we've taken ours off. And so GoChain will always keep a node, a single node on the network. And those rewards have just gone back to GoChain. And then we're reinvesting those obviously back in the company and back in the ecosystem. So I think that's what they're referring to. So that's what's happening with those.
Okay. And do you have any final thoughts for us before we wrap up today?
I just like the community to know that, this is my 9th call of the day, and I say it every time I get on these AMAs, and I just want them to know that I'm literally working day and night, talking to people around the world, talking to projects, and really trying to build out the GoChain ecosystem, and really trying to support projects as best we can. We're actively investing in several projects, and that's basically what I want them to know, is that we're working as hard as we can to make this the best protocol possible.
You seem very energetic for your 9th call today, so that's
exactly.
That's excellent.
Definitely.
Very excited.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Well, thanks so much, Jason, for chatting and giving us these updates. And I do look forward to more GoChain updates in the near future. And hope you have a great day.
Thank you. You too. Thanks for having us on.
Thank you.